really, really poor. You know, this was the 70s, and you know, people always ask, how do you get involved in entrepreneurism? You know, what makes you want to get into your own business? You know, I think traveling around a lot and you know, going from job to job, and on top of that, you know, I remember back in high school reading an article about a car. I can't remember the cars. It was something like a Lugano, and what it talked about was this was a car that most doctors and attorneys couldn't afford. You need to be a business person to afford it. At that time, it put in my head, well, you know, business and entrepreneurism is really the way to go, because you have the freedom to do what you want, and if you're successful, you know, you'll have a tremendous amount of success there too, with hard work. We came from a family of engineers. My father was a mining engineer, as I said. My brother's a mechanical engineer. I went to school for industrial engineering. But towards the end there, I really just wanted to get into my own business. I didn't know what I wanted to do. You know, sometimes you want to do something, but you know, whether you're making pizzas, tennis shoes, or you know, or cakes, or being a jeweler, whatever it is, you want to get into a business. So what happened was, when I left school, I went down to Biloxi, Mississippi. Started washing dishes at a pizza shop there, and just loved the business. And what I loved about the business more than anything was the people. You know, the pizza business is not about pizza, it's about people. Currently in our organization, we have about 2,500 employees with 130% turnover a year. You know, we're constantly churning out people, because a lot of our people that work in the stores, they're part-timers. You know, they go through school and then they leave. And so at that time when I was washing dishes in Biloxi, Mississippi, really loved the business, loved the culture that it created. And at that time we were lucky, because we were pizza business. Right now it's everywhere, but back then it was, you know, it was something that was growing at a very, very fast rate. At that time, I worked with the company, and within 2 years bought my own franchise from the company. So at the age of 23, I owned a franchise in the little town of Chalmette, Louisiana. And at that time, my family came down, and my family and I opened up a second store, and we were doing very well initially, but there was about 8, 9 stores in the organization. It started doing kind of poorly towards the end. So we decided to sell those stores and leave and go someplace else and start a new pizza business. Well, at that time, pizza was, there was a lot of buffet pizza and this and that, but delivery was just taking off in the 80s. Home delivery was huge, and there weren't that many people delivering. So my father and I decided, well, how do we learn? We know the pizza business, but we don't know the delivery business that well. So him and I started working at Domino's Pizza. You know, we knew the product we wanted to create, but we wanted to kind of get an idea how the logistics would work. And at that time, they were the best when it came to delivering, not pizza, but delivering it. So what we did was we learned the business, came back up to Pittsburgh and opened up our first store many years ago. And our sales that first day was $79, you know, and at that time, you know, it wasn't a very strong day. We were expecting to break 100, but we didn't. But as we grew the business, you know, one thing in entrepreneurs and one thing in business, you know, you can never sit still. You know, you want to continue to grow, because if you don't grow, people will catch up to you. You'll lose good people, so you need to grow. And at that point, we started growing. Our first store was doing okay. The second store didn't do too well. But the third store paid for the next 10. You know, we opened up in a university. It's just in 800 square feet. We were just doing very, very well. So you always need a little bit of luck. You know, our luck is getting into the right business at the right time, and delivery was really, really taking off then. By 1970, I'm sorry, by the mid-90s, we decided to start franchising. Now, when you start franchising, I figured, well, I know pizza, I can franchise. Well, you know, managing a pizza store and running a franchise organization is really like making cupcakes and screwdrivers. It's two totally different things, and it took me years to figure that out. And when I finally did, you know, what happened was a lot of people, our initial franchisees were really people from the company, drivers, cooks, people that wanted to come up in the company. So what we did was just made sure we picked the right people, because when you're franchising, if you pick the wrong person, you're married for that person for 20 years, you know. You either got to find a way to get it. So picking that right person initially is very, very important. And we didn't learn that for years either.